Welcome, friends. This is Janine Pettit, Girl Camping Ambassador, blogger, adventurous, podcaster, and founder of Girl Camper. I am here today with our all-star Texas guide, Lisa Dempsey. We're going to talk to Lisa about why she became a guide, what her background is, what she's bringing to the table, how she's helping women get out there and go places and do things. We'll be right back. We're back, everybody, and so excited about my guest today because Lisa brings so much to the table. Texas is the number two state for the number of women who belong to Girl Camper. There are a lot of campouts, a lot of women having a lot of fun down in the Lone Star State. I actually have family in Texas and love to camp there myself. So it's going to be interesting hearing about what brought Lisa to the table here. Like, she's got a full-time job and a lot of irons in the fire, but somehow she wanted to be a girl camper guide. And I want to know what makes women volunteer, get out there to make other people have fun. So before we jump in with Lisa, though, I have a message from one of our sponsors.
If your travel trailer is uninsured, you could run into issues down the road. Protect your RV with Progressive. Quote online in as little as 4 minutes.
Welcome back, everybody. Let me introduce you to Lisa Dempsey. Lisa, welcome to the show.
Oh, Janine, thank you so much for having me. I'm just so pleased to be a part of this organization. It's been such a great journey for the last 3 years, and I cannot wait to share my story with other women.
Well, let's talk about that right now. I always like to start at the beginning. Like, tell us about your background. Tell us about growing up. Tell us about how you landed in Texas and what you do for a living, if it's something. Some people think, what do you mean? I'm living. What your career has been like in your family and what brought you to where you are now. So give us your bio.
Oh, great. So let's see. I was actually born in California, so I'm actually a Cali girl.
Oh, I didn't
And
know
then
that.
my dad traveled around, so we somehow landed in Texas. I'm here in Houston. And boy, I didn't grow up camping, Janine.
Really?
Yeah,
I
but
love these stories where you converted in adulthood.
but it's something that I loved. But until I got to that point, really what I did was I have two special needs kids. I focused on being a mom. I had a real estate career. I
Mhm.
did all kinds of different things to be able to accommodate my family.
Mhm.
Um, I'm married and I have a great husband who lets me go out and do these things,
That's what we love.
which is what a lot of us have, which is so
Yeah.
wonderful.
It's very interesting, isn't it? A lot of people look at Girl Camper and other solo women travel groups and they make the assumption that it's just a bunch of single women. But anecdotally, and I know one of these days maybe we'll do a survey and get these figures. I think 70% of the women sitting around that campfire when we're at an event are married.
I would agree.
It's
I
pretty
would
high.
agree.
And then they got that husband behind him going, you go, girl, you go, girl. I can watch the game all weekend and sit around in my sweatpants and eat frozen pizza. And they got their own fun they're having while we're gone.
Exactly, exactly.
Yeah. So if you didn't grow up camping, when did that bug bite you?
Well, I started going to these Becoming an Outdoor Women
Oh, yeah,
events
yeah.
through Texas Parks and Wildlife.
Mm-hmm.
And I did that for years.
Mm-hmm.
And we kind of formed some friendships there by attending those. And a group of us got together and said, we've been going to all of these classes. We need to get out there and actually
Yeah,
do
do
some
it.
of this stuff and do it. So we started going to state parks and staying in cabins and using some of the tools and doing a lot of the outdoor cooking and kayaking and all of the fun things that we
And
really
were you tent
loved.
camping?
We were not tent camping. Nope.
Like cabin renting?
We were cabin renting, and I'm a comfort girl.
We all are.
I
Yeah.
love the outdoors, but I'm a comfort girl. Um, and so we did that, and then we decided one of the girls went and she took a class on teardrop trailering.
Hmm.
And so she went out and she bought the teardrop trailer, and I had always been kind of watching from the background and looking at all the cool little vintage trailers that were out there.
Hmm.
And I really wanted one of those. And my
Hmm.
friend got this cute little teardrop trailer, and we went camping in that.
Hmm.
And we had so much fun, just the two of us.
Yeah.
I learned about pottying outdoors in a trailer that didn't have a bathroom, right? It just had the little kitchen in the back.
Yep.
Learned
Hmm.
all kinds of exciting things. And so I got the bug and then got myself a little teardrop. Mine had a potty in it though.
Yes. I had the smallest teardrop they make, and it had the little tiniest bathroom and potty. And let me tell you, I loved it.
Yep, yep. But I was like, we camped in the rain a couple times, and I was like, I don't like getting out and getting wet and then getting back into the bed wet, and it was just not fun.
Right. I agree.
Yep.
What was your teardrop that you had?
It was a tab clamshell.
Okay, so the kitchen was outdoors in the
The
back
kitchen was outdoors, yes, but there was a slide window in the back
that you could,
that I could reach into if I needed
yeah,
to, and I had my little coffee maker set up there, so if I had to
push the button in
push
the
the
rain.
button
Yeah,
get
yeah,
my
yeah.
coffee, I could in the
I get
rain.
it.
Yep. But you know, my first, I guess, camping activity that was in a group, because it had always been just our small group of women going out, and I did some
Mhm.
solo camping here locally. But the real bug came actually coming to your first camporee.
Really? Okay, so I don't think I ever knew the story of how you came to know Girl Camper. So tell us that.
Well, again, my girlfriend, who was always like ahead
Yeah.
of the game, just two steps ahead, she's like, "Hey, I found this girl camper thing, and I've been listening to the podcast, and they're having
Yeah.
this big camp out." And of course, we're about at the same age where, we watched The Parent Trap, so we got the
Yeah.
whole
You get
we
it.
got
I
the whole
know.
gist of everything. We're like, this sounds great. It was here in Texas, so it made it
Yeah.
really easy for us to go from Houston up to Burnet. But to go and see all of these women, because I only had one friend that camped with me, and the other ones
Wow.
that went, we would all go, but they would stay in cabins. So I only had one other
Okay.
friend that had a trailer. And to go to Camporee and see all of these women
I
and
know, I know.
all of these trailers and experience things and learn new things and have opportunities to
Mhm.
go to the educational classes, to see the other guides. We had
Right.
so much fun. It was such a community. It was such a
You know,
community.
that was our very first camporee. And I mean, they're all my favorites, but I do remember how the campground there, and for some reason I can't even think of the name of it right now.
It was Big Chief.
Big Chief. It's been sold since then.
Mm-hmm.
It has a new owner now. But the old owner was so willing to accommodate us that we had 100 women, but their sites were fairly large, and he let us go back to back, 2 RVs per site.
Mm-hmm.
And that was so much fun when you're walking through the campground and you're seeing everybody's style, and you're seeing, and you're, oh my God, that's so cute. Oh my God. And the trailer tours going on, and all the women just being so empowered that they got themselves there. And we're going to have this blast weekend of fun. Since that was the first camporee, the vision I had for camporee totally came true in that.
It did. It did. It was great. So I met a lot of women. I thought, you know what? This is something that we want to do. And since
Yeah.
finding that, I've camped solo in my small groups and other
Mhm.
friends, and I've gone out in other groups and camped with other organizations. And I just haven't found anything else
Mhm.
like Girl Camper. This has
What
just
makes the
been, and
difference?
everybody finds their tribe, but this is my
Right.
tribe.
What was the difference in this tribe than other tribes?
It is so welcoming. I
Oh,
never felt, showing up to an event for the first time
mhm.
with different guides in different
Yeah.
locations. I've
You don't
traveled
know
to,
anybody?
right, don't know anybody, traveled to all parts of Texas, to Oklahoma, all over.
Hmm.
And I never felt isolated. Somebody always said, "Hey, come over here. I'm so glad you're here."
Right.
If there was ever anything that I needed, I always laugh. I tell people camping with women is like going to, what was that show? Let's Make a Deal, right? Where they would
Oh,
come out and say, who has a bobby pin, or who has this or
right.
who
They
has
could
that?
dig through their purse and someone
Right.
has
Dig
a
through their
sewing
purse.
kit and yeah, cough drop.
Right. Well, camping with women is like that because if there's anything that goes wrong, if you
Yeah.
blow a fuse, if something
Yeah.
happens, you can't get your batteries not working, it's something,
Oh,
there's
yeah.
10 women that are like, I got one.
I know it's so, as soon as you said that, I remembered an incident when we were all camping and you made that long trek from Texas all the way to the Outer Banks,
Mm-hmm.
pulling your trailer. So brave and proud of you. But I was shot at the end of the day, right? I mean, we were having fun, but this lady was like, I'm done here. I get up at 4:30 in the morning. I have no juice after 8 p.m. So anyway, I was laying on the couch in my camper looking out the window and I see something going on. And it's Lisa and Risa and Diane Rivard, and they've got flashlights and they've got toolkits and they're trying to get somebody's I don't know, somebody was having something that was going wrong and they had YouTube out and I don't know, they got it going.
Yeah.
It was so great because at that camp out, I think there was like five Max trailers. You know,
Mm-hmm.
all of the women who still have Max trailers, and I don't blame you one bit for not giving them up, but all of the girls with the Max trailers were helping. Like, I know how to fix this. I got this trailer, and it was so good to just look out that window and think, this is the community we created. This is what we made, and women who
Mm-hmm.
always have each other's backs. And I love that so much.
Yeah. It is. It's great. And that is something that I always try to make sure that, I'm providing.
Hmm.
So, yeah.
So, how did you make the leap from just being out there as a member of Girl Camper, joining in our campouts and going places and doing things, to do I want to be a guide?
Gee, that came out of necessity because the wonderful guide that we had in Southeast Texas was transitioning, and she was
Hmm.
transitioning from guiding and doing the things that she was doing into a career
Hmm.
with
In the industry.
inspections and repairs and doing
Hmm.
things into the RV industry. And so there were not campouts in Southeast Texas happening. So I was
Hmm.
traveling all over the state. And I don't mind doing that every now and then, but going up to Amarillo for a weekend
How far
is
is that from you?
it's towing, it's about 11 hours.
Oh, forget about it. Yeah, that's not a weekend trip.
Right. But I
I
was
have a
doing those
strict
kinds
like
of things.
3.5 hour window for weekend travel.
Yeah. So I was looking for something close by, having a conversation with our guide manager at the time who was hosting an event that I was at. And so she said, "Gee, if you want to have more campouts in your area, how would you feel
Yeah,
about,
maybe want to take over for
you
me.
know, considering guiding?"
Hmm.
And so we talked for a while about that, and I was like, "Okay, I'll give this a shot."
Yeah.
And it was great. It's really been a wonderful experience, and I would
Yeah.
encourage anybody who is sitting there saying, "Gee, I really wish there was something closer to home for me," wherever you are.
Hmm.
There's opportunities for anybody to host us.
Hmm. Yeah, and like I say this all the time, like we have wonderful guides, but they have lives and children and spouses and relatives and friends and they're not camping every weekend. So what's fun is when you build a community in your own little thing, and then there's somebody in there who'll say, "Oh my God, did you guys ever camp at blah, blah, blah?" No, why don't you take us all there? Because we all have our favorite campgrounds and we all have done things that we thought, "Oh my God, the girls would love this." So we always
Exactly.
encourage, participants in Girl Camper to, step up and take us to your favorite campground.
Yeah. But I really too wanted the opportunity to build more relationships with other women
Hmm.
who liked to camp.
Hmm.
And particularly women who were closer to me in my area and my community.
Hmm.
So it worked out really well, and it's just been something that I've so enjoyed.
But Lisa, for you, I know this because you and I have met in person and we've talked so many times, and you're a big asset to Girl Camper outside of being a guide. You're often contributing to our executive meetings. You bring great things to the table in our every other Wednesday night meeting. You are kind of a mover and shaker. Like, you have had this career. You've had to advocate for your children. Like, you know how to get out there and get things done. And when I look at you and I think you're a little different than some of the guides, because I think there was that part in you that was looking for those women who didn't have the confidence. Am I right there?
Yes. Oh, yes. It is
Yeah.
such,
You're looking for the women who don't just call up and say, "I'm in."
I want to empower women. It is such the experience that women share with us when they have hooked up a trailer for the first time, or they finally just decided, I'm throwing that blow up mattress in the back of my car
Yeah.
and I'm going to come car camping, or
Right.
whatever it is. And the first time they get out there, it is such a great feeling of accomplishment,
Mhm.
self-worth, and to me, it seems like a simple thing, but it's really not. It really takes a
Mhm.
lot to get out of that comfort zone and
It
go do
does.
that. And we
Yeah.
really want to encourage women and know that when they get there and they're coming around our campfire, we're there cheering everybody on. And we are not going to step in. I know how many girl campers have had this experience. They're pulling up with their trailer
Mhm.
and they're getting ready to back into their site. And some man comes knocking on the window. Honey, can I help you with that?
I know. In
Uh,
Texas, they're just trying to be good old boys, good old sports. They really think we're helping. They're helping
uh,
them. It doesn't, like, I always have this conflicting emotions when I'm in that boat again. And I always think, okay, that's somebody's dad, like he's in another era. And I go, listen, let me give it a try. And if I don't make it, I'm going to call on you. And then I whip that thing in one move, and the guy is standing there like, what?
Exactly, exactly. And that's kind of what I've learned to say is, give me a
Yeah,
minute. Let me, I'm not going to learn if I can't practice and
right.
do this. So let me do this.
Well,
If I
Lisa,
need
hold
anything, I'll
that thought for
call.
a minute, because we're going to step away for a word from one of our wonderful sponsors. But when we come back, I know this about every guide. Every guide has a story about a woman who came and maybe was super uncomfortable or scared or whatever. And I love to hear the stories of the women who transitioned. And so I want you to think of someone that you helped mentor and where she started and where she is now. I want all women to know that this is doable, and we are going to help you. So stay tuned. We'll be right back after this word from our sponsor.
Kurt Echo Mobile Brake Controller is a world-first mobile Bluetooth brake controller that can give you an entirely new towing experience. It's easily plug and play into your RV wiring harness with no tools required. It connects wirelessly and syncs with your smartphone to control and monitor all trailer brake activities. Its compact, portable design allows for easy transfer from one vehicle to another and convenient storage when it's not in use. Check it out in the complete family of Echo units to find the best fit for your towing setup.
Welcome back, everybody. I can't wait to hear this story, Lisa, because I filed these in my head. And sometimes when I'm sitting here at Girl Camper and it's all indoors and it's editing and it's stories to be written and it's things that need to get done. from the back end of the website or whatever it is, the magazine deadlines, I kind of lose the sight of it. And it's really helpful for me. I actually have a little file in my email of letters people wrote me, and every once in a while I got to click on those and read those. So tell me a story about somebody you mentored.
Well, I'm going to kind of, instead of telling you a story, I think about somebody that I mentored. I think I'm going to share a story about one of my recent
Mhm.
events.
Okay.
So at the beginning of this year, I had an event called Let It Go. And it was a group of us that got together, right? It was
Uh-huh.
an opportunity for us to reflect on where we've been, where we want to go. And it was a little bit more intimate setting. It was a smaller group for us. There was only 14 of us. A lot of times when we have groups, there's
Mhm.
20, 30. In Texas, we can have
Yeah.
really big groups.
Even 40. Yeah.
Yeah, we're very fortunate to be able to do that. But we had several brand new women to Girl Camper. And that was always really exciting. And at this event, we were at this great park that had the beach. It had the canal. So we were in Matagorda, Texas. And in January in Texas, the weather can be cold, but it can also be absolutely lovely. So we
Right.
had some rain, we had some beautiful sun. But it was wonderful. And we got together to share what we wanted to do. There were several women there who were talking about how they wanted to start their camping adventures. And they were here because
Mhm.
that's one of the things that they wanted to be able to focus on and figure out what to do next.
So it was kind of a look and see for them.
It was a look and see for them. And then there were some women who had had some very difficult times in the year prior, and they were literally there to be in a safe place with other women
Respite.
for respite. And that is
Mhm.
really kind of one of the things that I wanted to share because it wasn't just one person. At that group, we don't have an opportunity very often as women to be in a safe place, to share. We had a few mother daughters, we had some sisters. It was such a lovely experience to do that and then be able to go outside together and walk on the beach
Mhm.
or go into town and explore and talk about what we wanted to do next. And we created vision boards. And I'll tell you what, some of
Oh,
those
wow.
ladies already have reached out to me
That's
and
so
they have
great.
already gone out and booked trips, signed up for different Girl Camper events. They're investigating what kind of trailer they want. They've been going to
Mhm.
some of the RV shows.
Mhm.
And that kind of in a nutshell, even though that wasn't a traditional it
Camp
wasn't a
out.
traditional camp out. We had a lot of the aspects that we do on a
Yeah,
camp
yeah,
out.
yeah.
It was great. I cannot
Yeah.
wait to hold another event like that, to hold space for women and their desires and dreams. Um, it was so
It is
cool.
fun to see women strike out. And, one of the things I have to remind myself of all the time is everybody kind of has a different starting point. And for me, I noticed this about women coming into Girl Camper. Oh, that looks like someone. Oh, I could never do that. So it's the negative self-talk, right? I could never do that. Why? Everybody here is doing it. Why can't you do it? And you kind of drill down and make them identify that thing that makes that. And a lot of times, what you end up with is this little bowl of negative things that you grew up with. The teacher that said, I remember a teacher said to me once, I was the third in a family of 7 kids. And my older sister, Chris, and my older brother, Gary, were very smart. They were in National Honor Society. They were in the advanced classes. And for Janine, the straight C- student. And I remember a teacher saying to me, how could you possibly be Christy and Gary's sister? And,
Aw.
and I didn't know what she meant. And so I asked her, I said, what do you mean? Because I'm thinking biologically, like, what do you mean? And she goes, you're in the dummy classes. Because I was in all the special,
Mm,
I'm special. Um, so anyway, I never forgot that. So you get this pile and you take that in to adulthood with you, Now, I grew up in a family where it was like, don't listen to that teacher. What does she know? Like, I didn't like live on that forever, but I also never forgot it. So when you meet these women and they get there and you kind of drill down a little, I feel like our job as guides and mentors, the very first thing sometimes we have to do is give women permission to have fun. You know, even
Absolutely.
my bestie Carol here in New Jersey, when she first had her first grandchild, and William was like, I don't know, it was like 3. And I said, Carol, we're all going kayaking at blah, blah, blah. We're going to camp here and there and, come and join us. And she's like, oh, I can't because William has a t-ball game. And I'm like, what does that have to do with you? And it took Carol a little while to say, you know what? I don't have to be at every single game, and to just give yourself permission to not have to show up for everybody else every minute and to take some time for your own self-care and rejuvenation and that kind of thing. So for
Hmm.
me, that was kind of a big lesson, just like help. And I will tell you this real quick story because you were talking about Bo in the cabins. We had a big girl camp out in New Jersey, and a bunch of women came, and they were just watching us online. They didn't have campers, they didn't have tents. They were just like, we just got to go. This looks like so much fun. They rented one of those little cabins that is nothing but bunk beds and a double bed
Hmm.
and
Yep.
nothing else, right? And they pulled up and they honked and they waved and they came over and they introduced themselves and they got their little welcome bag and they went off to their cabin. And about an hour later, I was walking down to the camp store and they were all sitting on the porch and they said, come and see our cabin. Well, I walked inside and I was flabbergasted. They had hung little pennants, girl camper pennants that they made, all tacked them on the ceiling all the way around. They had strung lights. They all made up their beds with beautiful linen and vintage quilts. And I mean, the place was decked out. And I thought, that's the spirit.
Absolutely. That
Yeah,
sounds like
that's
so
the
much fun.
spirit.
And and I think that that just speaks so much about girl camper, right? There's no
Mhm.
wrong way to camp like a girl.
No,
And that's
wrong
what I
way.
tell people. Just
Yeah.
there's space for you here.
There is
Join
space for
us.
you. So let me ask you this, Lisa. I mean, you're a busy woman and you do a lot of charity work. And I would love for you to share with us about the charity work you do down there in Texas because it's so valuable.
Oh, thanks. Well, my day job, besides taking care of my family, is a nonprofit called the Forgotten Wishes Foundation. And a
Okay.
lot of people think that, oh, Forgotten Wishes, they must be like make a wish and, grant
Mhm.
wishes. And that's not really what we do. We are about sparking joy, creating a sense of belonging for people with disabilities.
Mhm.
So I have a 33-year-old daughter with an intellectual developmental disability that lives at home with us. I have a almost 18-year-old son with high functioning autism. I have a
Mhm.
granddaughter with autism.
Mhm.
So um, I'm very familiar with advocating and being involved in this
Mhm.
community over the years. And 5 years ago, and just pre-COVID, we decided that we needed to kind of find something that we could do to impact that community.
Mhm.
And my daughter at the time was living in a residential group home, what they would call a
Mhm.
16-bed group home here
Mhm.
locally in our community.
Mhm.
And gosh, I could see so many of the residents did not have family members that were connected with them
Mhm.
still, or
Yeah.
anybody that was really engaging with them outside of staff.
Mhm.
And the staff is overworked and they're busy. And so we got involved with making cards and making sure that they had birthday cards and holiday greetings and little things that we could do to acknowledge them.
Mhm.
And then that spread. We decided, hey, we're going to create this nonprofit, Forgotten Wishes. And I called it Forgotten Wishes because people do forget to wish these people happy birthday,
Aw.
Merry Christmas,
Yes.
you know, happy Valentine's Day, or just anything that says that we're
Just to be
thinking
acknowledged.
of you, just to be acknowledged.
Right.
And I tell people, remember that time when you're 6 or 7 years old and that birthday card came in the mail from your grandmother or your favorite aunt or uncle or friend. Remember back in the day when we used to get a dollar bill?
Yes, yes.
birthday
And it
cards,
was, yeah, it
right?
was great. We'll
You
take
know,
it.
something along those lines. But you felt so special that you got mail. You got something that was there addressed and it came
Oh, yeah. I still
to
love snail
you.
mail. Hmm.
Yeah. Or even if you were acknowledged at work for something that you did well and somebody took the time to write, a handwritten note and
Hmm.
give that to you, I've got a whole file of those things over the
Hmm.
years that I go back and look at and go, okay, this made me feel really good.
Right.
So what we do is we reach out, we work with community members. And in fact, at Camporee in California, I went and we did a huge card party where
Oh,
we all wrote cards and letters, and I brought those back, and then they get distributed to our Forget Me Not Friends Club
I
members.
love that.
Yeah, it's great. And it's free for the club members. They can sign up. We've got almost 700 members now. We're in all 50 states. People receive mail from us in all 50 states.
Oh, Lisa, and you started that.
Yeah. And
That's incredible.
we work with all kinds of different companies. We've worked with Microsoft, and we've worked with Scotiabank, and we've worked with AAA, and they host card parties. And we use that as kind of an employee engagement to help people understand the needs of
Hmm.
individuals with disabilities and how isolating that can be for
Yeah.
them.
Yeah.
And then they write cards and letters and send them to me, and then I distribute them.
I love this so much. All right, we're going to have to put a link in there because now I didn't realize you were all over the country. I'm going to have to look up the New Jersey and host a little card sending party.
Hmm.
I save all these ones that come in the mail, that want the $5 donation, and they give you all the return address labels. I have stacks of them. So we'll just have to have a card party and make those things available to everybody. And I just love that. And I love what you've brought to the table for Girl Camper in Texas. I love how valued you are by the people in the community you created for Girl Camper. And I just can't thank you enough for being such a wonderful member of our team and bringing all that joie de vie uh, that you
Oh, thank
have
you.
to all of us. And I'm looking forward to seeing you at Camporee. Am I seeing you at
No,
Camporee?
no, not
Oh,
this year.
oh, you're
Not
not
this
coming this
year.
year.
I cannot
Okay.
make it. So there's a camping conflict, and I
Oh,
had to pick, and I have to say, as much as I really wanted to be there because
yeah.
I love that part of Colorado. And
Yeah.
for those ladies out there, if you haven't been to a camporee, go.
I think
Just
there's
go.
like 12 tickets left.
Yeah, if
And-
there's an opportunity,
Yes.
go and get on a wait list. If there's a wait list, it's great. But
So worth it.
I have never been. I've been in Texas for over 50 years, and I have never been to the Davis Mountains.
Okay.
And
Okay. So that's
there
good.
was a camping opportunity with Girl Camper to go do that. And I didn't want to miss that opportunity. So there are
Well,
several
you've
of
been to your
us.
share of camporees.
Yeah. So I've got I think there's like 5 or 6 of us East Texas girls are caravanning out together
Good. Oh, the caravan
to
is
the
so much
Davis.
fun. Yeah.
Hmm.
Well, Lisa, thank you so much for joining us today. I just love you to the moon and back. You're a girl after my own heart, and it's not just with Girl Camper, it's your life. It's how you live. I love the way you live.
Oh, thank you,
You
Janine.
just live such a life that is just you are a person who just exudes hope. You go around just making people feel hopeful. And I love that about you. So thank you so much for being on the show today. If you want to get in touch with Lisa, you can join Lisa's Facebook group.
Mhm.
And please, you're going to give us the link and we're going to put it in there of your foundation. Just say the name first, though.
It's Forgotten Wishes Foundation.
.com or like
It's forgottenwishesfoundation.org.
.org. Okay, so look that up. I'm going to look it up in New Jersey. Get all your friends together, write some nice cards. Um, and I just can't wait to camp with you again. And so happy to spend this time with you.
Right. Thanks, Janine. Thank you so much for
Thank
having
you.
me.
Thank you. You're welcome. Well, that's our show for today. I know you're all going to love Lisa as much as we do at Girl Camper. She's just a treasure to us. So I want to really praise her for coming on and for everything she does, not just at Girl Camper, but everywhere. Don't forget to like, follow, subscribe, send this to a friend. We love being in contact with you. Look us up at girlcamper.com. follow us on Instagram, look at our YouTube channel. Just get in the community and have some fun with us. This is Janine Pettit, founder of Girl Camper. Happy trails, everyone. Have a great day.